promised somebody that I would do a pack list of what I have in my pack. My wife and I went over for a backpacking trip yesterday. This is my faithful assistant, Big Gira. Hi, buddy. Anyway, decided instead of going over and making a video of me packing the pack, that I would go over what is in there as I unpack it and put stuff away. So, here we are. The only thing that is not in the pack is the food bag. That's already been taken out and unpacked. There was probably 3 pounds of food in there. Whenever I weighed the pack just a few minutes ago, it came in at 35 pounds. So figure 37, 38 pounds is what the pack would weigh prior to the food bag being taken out. So, buddy, you're gonna have to get down. So, let's start off with the bag. This is an Osprey, can't remember what model it is, it's right here, an Osprey Atmos AG65. Big box, mass-produced pack. It's an internal frame pack. For a beginner, it's good. For anyone, it's good. Let's start off by saying with packs, if you're just getting started into backpacking, any pack will do. Anything that can carry your gear, your basic gear that you need. I bought this pack whenever we started getting a little more serious into hiking. Wanted something a little lighter than what I was carrying. I was carrying a big 85 liter pack, external frame that was pretty heavy, great for an expedition out into the backcountry of Montana going hunting or whatever, but not for just general backpacking. So anyway, good pack. It's not inexpensive. They run around $270 for this pack. But if you're beginning to get serious with backpacking, then not a bad pack to go with. Next, this is something that is definitely not vital. Camp chair. I'm 53. Don't particularly care to sit on the ground as much, so a camp chair is definitely something I don't mind packing for some hikes. This comes in at about just over 2 pounds. As you can see, it folds down easily, very comfortable to sit in, but you do have, if you want that comfort in camp, you do have the drawback and the compromise of having to carry the weight to get to camp. But this one was about $70 at Sportsman's Warehouse. Has a good design, has a nice high back. It stands a little taller than some of them, but that's where the extra weight comes in. Like I said, just over 2 pounds. Let's see. Next, as we unpack, we'll go ahead and take this off. Trekking poles. Trekking poles, in my opinion, are a must if you're doing anything with a lot of up and down. These are by Black Diamond. They are not real expensive. You can spend a whole lot of money on trekking poles. If you get carbon fiber, they'll be extra light. They'll be very strong, but they'll also be very expensive. These ran, I think, $70. They are extendable. 2 different places to extend out. Black Diamond is a reputable brand, and these have served me quite well. When you're going uphill, they help you use your upper body to help propel yourself uphill. When you're going downhill, they help you keep your balance as you're going down. In most situations, I prefer having trekking poles, and I use 2. Again, that's my preference. If you're in a rugged, ill-maintained trail like I was on yesterday, they come in handy and they are a lifesaver. Let's see, next is this little beauty. Just a bandana, camp towel, all sorts of uses for this. I use orange. It's a kind of a signature color that I use. Orange is my favorite color. This could be used for signaling if I was in an emergency. Helps with wiping down the pack if I get some dirt on it or whatever. Helps around camp. Wet it down just before going to bed. Wipe the face off and get the salt from where you were sweating off your face before you go to sleep. Everybody should have a bandana in their pack. I keep mine tied to a carabiner. This is not one for climbing. It's very lightweight. It's just here to attach. But that's something that could be very useful. You can use it in all sorts of things. Sit pad. This is just a foldable thermocell sit pad. I got this from Dutch Wear Gear, about $7. But it folds up fairly easily. Keep it in the front pocket here where I can get to it. Stop for a break, put it down on a rock. It keeps the cold from seeping into your butt. Good choice to have. Let's see. Let's keep digging into here. Rain jacket. This is an REI model rain jacket, branded rain jacket from REI. It's their Rainier model. About $90. I think I got it for about $70 on sale. Very good. This one has pit zips in it. If you want to know what pit zips is, it's just openings in the pit under your armpits. That helps with ventilation. One thing with rain gear is it's meant to keep the moisture from getting in. That means it also stops the moisture from getting out. So it acts as insulation, which means you are likely to sweat, and so you need ventilation to get that out. So that was one of the things that I looked for, something that would be good quality, have good ventilation. It also has a hood built in that's in the collar, can come up, has a little thing comes over and will grab the bill of your cap to help keep the rain off of you and off of your face. But again, indispensable piece of gear. Sorry, Kaylee. Next, I'll get to my sleeping system shortly. I hammock camp, so I have a hammock and a tarp that I sleep under. This is just a big piece of Tyvek. You may be wondering, why do I carry Tyvek? Tyvek is very durable. It's used to wrap houses in as a moisture barrier. That means even though this is not being used enough to where it won't rattle anymore, it is noisy, but it was inexpensive, and I was able to get I think 4 feet by 8 foot section of it. Fold it down. I could fold it down a little more, but it carries with me. This puts it where I could put this as a ground cloth underneath my hammock if I need to. Usually in a campground I don't need to, but if I was camping in the woods, it gives me something, give a barrier between the ground and whatever creepy crawlies might be in it, and where I'm putting my feet, put a place to put my pack. Once I get my tarp up, I can put this down and then put my pack on that. Keep my camp shoes or my trail shoes there, something less likely for stuff to crawl into at night. And also helps keep moisture away. If it's raining, the rain will go underneath it, stays on top since it's underneath the tarp. Good piece of gear. I thoroughly swear by this if I'm in the woods. Let's see. Next, we'll go over here. Have a pair of Crocs on another carabiner. Might wonder, you hike in your Crocs? Nope, I do not hike in my Crocs. I carry Crocs with me as camp shoes. When you've been out hiking all day long in these, your feet are tired, your feet want to change, you want to get out of those socks. So I carry Crocs. It used to be the hikers would carry sandals to wear around camp. These are a lot lighter. They're probably about a pound lighter than a pair of sandals would be. And they're almost indestructible. I've had these for 5 years, and they're just now starting to show that I might need to think about replacing them. But good choice for wearing around camp. Another carabiner, same concept as before. Let's see. In the loops on the strap of my pack, keep a gaiter, a neck gaiter, not for feet. I don't have a pair of gaiters for my shoes yet. I probably will get some eventually. This is for the masks, because of the pandemic. In case I get into a place where masks are required, I have it right here. If I'm meeting someone on the trail, it's a very narrow trail. We can't maintain distance. I'm fully vaccinated, so I don't usually worry about it. But other people might be. Out of courtesy, I have this if they want me to mask up. Also keep hand sanitizer on the front, thermometer, so I can kind of keep track of what temperatures are. And over on this side, earpods for my iPhone if I want to listen to something while I'm hiking. Don't do it very often, sometimes it happens. And then a water bottle. Now about the water bottles, this pack I could carry one up here and then one on either side. I typically carry 2 1-liter water bottles at the start of a hike. That's comes out to 4.5 pounds of water. But if you consider an adult should be, when they're hiking, should be drinking a liter of water for every 3 kilometers. So that comes out to be about, every 5 kilometers, that comes out to be about every 3 miles. It's good to have the water there. It's also good to have extra just in case you need it. So, keep that there. We'll go ahead and hit these front pockets. Headlamp. Now, most people think, well, you're not going to hike at night. No, not usually. I might get in a situation, but once I'm in a campground, I get up in the middle of the night, want to make my way to the bathhouse, have a red light. This one also has other settings, but it's also a lot more convenient to have your light source up here. You have both hands free and available. This works in conjunction with something that's in the pack itself. I keep physical maps in there, and this is a compass. So I can use the compass if I need to. Typically, and I'd hold my iPhone up, but it's what's recording. Typically I use the iPhone for compass and also for tracking and recording my routes, use it for all my navigation. If I get in a situation where I don't have battery power, or heaven forbid, I drop it, it breaks, I don't have access to it, I have a backup plan, way to be able to navigate and know where I'm going, or be able to figure it out. On the other side, more hand sanitizer. This is an example of overkill. I have one set of hand sanitizer for a weekend trip. That should be enough. I'll be honest with you, I forgot that this was even in there until after we got on the trail this time. And part of 1.5 snack bars. Keep snacks where they're easy when you're hiking. Keep snacks where they're easy to get to. Your body is an engine, and think of it like a fire. As you're going, you're burning fuel, and it's better to feed that fuel a little bit at a time as you're hiking than it is to not have any food and then wait till you get to the very end. So keep snacks available. That's very important. Let's see. Second water bottle. Let's open side pockets. And I'll show you how this is. This model has a pocket on the side here. This first thing I'm pulling out This is, make sure this doesn't fall off, water treatment kit. I use a filter, so if I come to if I need more water, come to a stream or a spring, have a place where I can get water. I don't want to drink it straight from the source, primarily because I don't want giardia. I don't want whatever the name is of the one that makes you go out both ends. You don't want any of that. That's bad news. The point of being out in the wilderness is to have fun and to enjoy yourself, and getting sick is not part of that. So you want to filter the water. I use a Sawyer squeeze. As part of that also, I use a CNOC bag. The way this works, for those who don't know, is you open this up, you're out there, you're standing across the stream or some kind of flowing water, and you scoop it up. And you seal it up, like so. Then you would come on this end, turn it out the way around, add your Sawyer squeeze, that's the name, and then squeeze the water through the filter into your water bottles. There are several different ways of purifying your water. You can use the chemical version, which is the pills. That takes about half hour, and it's multi-step, but it takes a half hour before the water's ready to use. The filters, the Sawyer squeeze, the Catadine Be Free, those are push through, very affordable, very common, very easy to get a hold of. The other kind is a manual pump. There's a type, I think Platypus is the one that is one of the most common brands for this, but it's a pump. You pump directly from the source through a tube. It goes through the filter and into the reservoir that you keep the water in. All of them are fine to use. All of them have their quirks. For instance, this one needs to be back flushed after every trip, just that it's used just to make sure that get all the junk out of the filter. But you need to be able to hydrate. Those 2 bottles of water may only last me, if it's a really hot day, I may go through them faster than what the average is. So I want to have a way to get more water while I'm out there. I'll cross a stream. This lets me get the water in a usable form into my bottles where I can drink it. Let's see. One of the most important parts of the kit, first aid kit. Now this is a commercially purchased first aid kit. It's got band-aids, bandages, emergency blankets. It comes with a form-fitting case. Keep everything organized. I use this primarily because I pack my fears. That's the term that's used. I pack for stuff that I think of that probably won't happen. I want as wide a range of options if I ever have to administer first aid to myself or someone else. Most backpackers, especially those who are through hiking, will cut this down. They won't carry something like this because this weighs way too much. They'll break it down to a few band-aids, maybe a pair of tweezers, something like that. I think the one I usually carry is in another pack that I use, but I also have a tick remover, a tick removing key that I usually have that's attached to my first aid kit. Ticks around here everywhere, so it's always good to check for them, and having a way of getting them off of you safely is a good option. You don't want to end up with Lyme disease and be allergic to meat, especially if your primary source of what you eat, like mine is meat. So that's everything on this side. Don't worry, we're going to get to the good stuff on the inside shortly. On the other side, All right. First of all, very important. This is a potty trowel. You might ask, okay, what is a potty trowel? Well, the answer's in the name. When you're in the wilderness, sometimes you gotta go poop, and if you do it the proper way, you're gonna get at least 200 feet off the trail. You're gonna stay at least 200 feet away from any water source, and you're gonna dig a cat hole. You're gonna dig a hole that is 6 inches deep and big enough for you to poop in. You'll poop into it. You'll use your toilet paper that I have in here, and you'll put that in there. Some places require you to pack your toilet paper out. I know that's a gross prospect, but hey, get over it. You're in the wilderness. You got to do stuff that you wouldn't otherwise do. But once you do your business in your cat hole, cover it up, put your leaves over it, leave no trace, make it so nobody knows that it's there, and then you're going to move on. You may think, oh, you're keeping it packed up. No, this never touches the poop. This just touches the dirt. So this is my toiletry kit. Yes, it's big. Yes, there's more in here than what I would have if I were through hiking. But it's got all sorts of things. It's got wet wipes, sanitary wipes, toilet paper. I also threw sunscreen in here. I've got my toothpaste, deodorant, toothbrush, lotion, all that stuff. Also have a new device. I have not used it yet, but I will eventually. And where did I put that other thing? Oh, left it in here. This is my dedicated dirty water bottle. And I say dirty water bottle because it's going to be used for toilet purposes. This is, and whenever I get a chance to try it, I will. This is the Backwoods bidet. Put your water in here and use it as a bidet. You don't have to use as much or any toilet paper. So that helps with the environment. Also makes it a little bit less that you have to carry and worry about. Believe me, if you've used all your toilet paper and you've got to go again in the woods, you don't want to be in that situation. It's not fun for anybody. Okay, well, let's face it. You're the only one there. It's not fun for you, so therefore it's not fun for anybody. And guess what? We are done with the outside pockets. So we will start with the bottom. First up, my hammock. This is a hammock from Dutchware Gear. It's the half zip, which means that it has a bug net over the entire thing that zips on one side. I don't like bugs, especially bugs that suck the blood out of you, so mosquitoes, gnats, all that kind of stuff. So I made sure that whenever I bought a good hammock, I got one that had a bug net. This one zips on one side. You can find some that zip on both sides. They're a little bit more expensive and harder to find. There are also some structural concerns with those from some of the reviews that I have read. So this is the one I went with. The hammock itself, my hammock itself is a very interesting orange and brown and cream color design. You don't see that out here because it's covered in something called snake skins. That's protective cover. Also makes it easy to pack up. Those are attached as well. Around that I have part of my suspension system. The yellow cords here are whoopee slings. They're made out of Amsteel Dyneema cordage. Can support up to like 1,500 pounds each. They have little hooks, titanium hooks on the end, which are called Dutch hooks, which hook onto the Dyneema loops on the end of the hammock. Altogether, once you get used to looking at trees and being able to figure, okay, that's the right distance between trees, or that's in the right range where I can adjust it, because that's one thing with the whoopee slings, they are adjustable. These are adjustable from 2 feet out to 6 feet. So that gives you a range to play with. It's not a case of, oops, these trees are 6 inches too far apart. No, you've got some adjustment to work with. So, hammock. Next, and I'll explain this in a few minutes. In just a second. Next thing in here that I keep in the compactor bag. It's got 3 things in here. A bishop bag. That's a stuff sack with an opening on both ends. This has some things in it. I'll talk about that in a few minutes. And it has my insulation in it. The contractor bag is important because while the pack is good at shedding water off of it, it's not waterproof. At best, it might be considered water resistant. Insulation, my insulation that I have, and I got both of these things from Hammock Gear, is filled with down, goose down. You don't want that getting wet. If down gets wet, it has no insulating properties whatsoever. So you need this stuff to stay dry. So I wrap the things that have to stay dry in a contractor bag. That helps keep things compact, no pun intended, and dry in the bag. One of these is an underquilt and one is an overquilt. Those are terms, if you know very much about hammocks, that you'll hear. Underquilt goes under the hammock. That gives you some insulation so that the cold doesn't come in on your butt and on your backside while you're sleeping. If you put your insulation on top of your hammock and sleep on it and lie down on it, it compresses it down so you don't have very much insulation factor there. By suspending it underneath, you have more insulation. It does what it's supposed to do, keeps the cold out, keeps you warm. Overquilt, same thing. Except it goes on top of you. And that's to help keep the cold out, keep the warmth in. These are in stuff sacks, which means they're compressed down. Now, down does not do well in the long term. So, for my insulation stuff, the quilts, I keep those in the provided. And this is not an endorsement. I'm not being sponsored by these guys, but they do make great gear. Whenever you buy the quilts from them, they also send you these nice laundry style bags. Great information you can write on the end so you can keep track of what's in there. But this lets the quilt loft up. As you can tell, it's pretty compressed down. I usually keep the stuff sack in here with it, but by putting it in here, that lets it loft back up and stay lofted up. And this just usually gets hung up on the wall over there or up there until it's needed. And I'll do the one for the other one after we get done with the video. This bag contains some of my winter gear. Got a scarf, got earmuff, have another hat, I've got another hat, I've got gloves, another hat. As you can tell, I packed my fears. Got a lot of hats in here for wintertime. You might be wondering, okay, why did you pack that for this packing trip? Well, it makes for a pretty good pillow. It also makes it so that if I get stuck out there, and if something happens, I can't set up for whatever reason, I can't set up the tent and tarps and get into use the insulation. For instance, if that insulation got wet, this gives me at least where I have gloves, I have a warm hat to take with me. But again, primary reason, pillow. Sorry for the interruption. I had something interrupt on the phone and it stopped recording. That should be fixed now. We'll pick up where we left off. Maps. This goes back to what I was, no, Bakira, stay out of that. This goes back to what I was talking about earlier with the compass. You may be out navigating using your phone, recording with your phone, whatever along those lines. Something happens to your phone. You get something, you have your app bugs out and you lose, yes, go on. And you lose the information that you had, that you were navigating by. So you don't have your information. Well, it just so happens you're in a non-service area now. So you can't get your information back. You may be lost, especially if you got off trail. But if you have paper maps with you, get on your printer. It doesn't have to be as detailed as these. These are, I printed from All Trails, so it has map coordinates on it. So I would be able to tell exactly where I am, give coordinates if I needed to. But it's always good to have paper maps with you just in case. You hope that the just in case doesn't happen, but sometimes it does. It's good to have it. Hi. Why don't you get down? Thank you. I don't always carry one of these, but if you're going to be staying in a place like a campground where they allow you to have fires, most campgrounds allow you to gather wood, scavenge wood that's already down. Always good to have a camp saw with you to process that wood. You could always break up the small sticks, but it's also nice if you find a large log. At $6 or $8 a bundle for firewood, this can save some money. It is a little bit on the heavy side. It weighs almost as much as that camp chair does. So you're talking about about 2 pounds. But it has a job to do. If you're in a situation where you'll use it, take advantage of it. Bring one. All right. Sorry, kid. I need to get in here again. All right. Now we're getting into the nitty-gritty. We're going to open the top of this bad boy. And see what else is in Bryant's pack. So, first of all, just so you know, this is usually on the top, so because it's the first thing I set up whenever I get to camp. This is the Rainfly. It also has a suspension system for the rest of the suspension system for my hammock. In here, I've got tree straps. This is just 1-inch webbing. Goes around the tree. It protects the tree. So if you use rope, that can damage the bark on the trees and cause them where bugs can get in easier. Again, titanium Dutch clips on these. That makes it a whole lot easier to wrap it around the tree and connect it. So not required. Good to have though. That's part of the suspension system. The rest of it is tent stakes and guidelines for the tarp. Tarp, I'm not going to fold it all out because it's about 13 feet long and about 10 feet wide, but it is it's a waterproof tarp. It hangs up. I usually hang it up first using a continuous ridge line. That helps give it some structure. Also helps keep it tight so that the rain and wind get diverted from the hammock. Hat. I have some medical conditions where I don't need to be in the sun as much. So sometimes if I'm out in a hike like this weekend, where what we call in the green tunnel, you've got trees over you the whole time, I'll wear a baseball cap. It's my preferred headwear to wear. But if I'm going to be out in the sun a lot, like the end of our hike, this weekend where we were out in a pasture, no tree cover, lots of sun. I did not switch over this weekend because it was the end of the hike. We only had like a few hundred yards that we're hiking in that situation. But I like to bring second hat just in case things change. This will keep the sun off of me. Has a flat back here, keep the sun off my neck as well. It's always good to have options. Hey, buddy. Let's see. All right, GoPro camera. This is something I have brought with me a few times. I'm not sure I'm going to bring it with me very many more times. I thought I would use it a lot more. I didn't. I do have a video from the start of our hike this time on here, but by the end of it, we were just so tired of doing everything. I did not follow up on it. I might use it in the future, but this is additional weight that I don't have to carry. So that may not be going with me in the future. All right. This is a Dyneema bag. I've got set up with hooks on the side. It can hook up to the straps up here after I have my bag on, or I can wear it as a chest bag. I usually keep it in the pack, and then I'll hang it from the structural ridge line in my hammock, just to kind of keep it in there. It's pretty water resistant, and it has the waterproof zipper on it, which helps. This is what I keep things like medication. I keep pen, some paper, the extra batteries for the GoPro. I'll keep my wallet in here. I'll keep the vehicle key in here. Things that I need to keep track of and need to not lose, things that don't need to get wet, I'll put in here. Hey, you. Stay out of that. Continuing with electronics. Talking about the camera and the GoPro. This pack, I have it primarily for one purpose, and that is this Anchor battery pack. When you're on the trail, phone needs to be recharged at night. I also keep a charging cable so I can go from this to my phone. Keep that in there. I've been carrying it in this because I could also have this hooked to the outside. This pack also has a pad of paper and a pencil in case I ever have to leave a note anywhere. I've never had to. This is bulky and is weight that I probably could shed. So that will probably be getting rid of this case anyway. That does not mean I'll be getting rid of this. This will find another home in another part of the packing system. This stuff sack has spare socks, dirty shirt, spare socks, and another bandana. Again, overpacked. I already had one on the outside, but I'm of the opinion if you have a backup, that's not necessarily a bad thing. I've just started keeping my any spare clothes I take with me, not counting the ones that I use for a pillow, in a separate stuff sack. It makes it easier to find them. Most of my clothing is dark, and it's dark down in there, so this helps be able to find it easily. And those need to go in dirty clothes. Almost done, guys. Actually, this is the last part, and it's an important part. You hear that? Yeah. You can probably guess what this is. This is the mess kit. Not vital to have, but it's very convenient to have. Is metal plate. You can use paper plates if you want to. You can kind of roll the paper plates up. I like the I like the MSR. This is from MSR, but it's just a metal plate. You can use it for a couple things. When you're fire building, fan the fire, keep that fire going. But most importantly to me is that I like, on the first night of a backpacking trip, have a frozen steak. So day or two before you're gonna go on the hike, get a steak from the grocery store, throw it in the freezer. When you leave for the hike, wrap it up in a Ziploc bag, put it in your pack, and eat well the first night out. Well, part of eating a steak well is to have a plate to eat it off of. So in addition to being a fan, it's a great steak plate. Long handled spoon. In the hiking community, these are ubiquitous. This particular model has a pretty good, it's a spork, so it has a couple of tines up here. It actually did a pretty good job of being able to hold the steak while I use my pocket knife to cut it. So, good to have on that. This one's titanium. It's extremely lightweight, very, very strong. And you may be wondering, why the very long handle? The backpacker meals, the ones where you just pour water in and let it rehydrate, they're enveloped, so they're pretty deep. This is the perfect length to get down into the bottom of that. This was the first trip where I've actually used this on, and I'm sold. I don't ever want to not have one of these with me. This would be a luxury item, an actual cup. This morning I don't normally drink coffee, but I got some instant coffee to have while I was on trail, and it was very nice to be able to boil the water and make my coffee and be able to drink it out of a cup while I'm boiling water to make oatmeal or another meal. So you don't have to have a cup to take with you. If you want to just drink water, drink it out of a bottle. But if you want to make hot tea or coffee or hot chocolate or something like that, a cup is a good thing to have. The actual cooking set that I use is an Optimus titanium set. Let's get this out of here. Works together. Little pan or a little pot. And then the big pot. Now, for this trip, I took this thing. I got it primarily because it will fit inside the pot. Prior to this, I've been carrying this. I've been using this canister for over a year on various trips and day hikes, and it's mostly full. But you can see big difference in volume, big difference in weight. So this one is probably going to just be relegated for using around here whenever I go hiking in my woods or for day hikes. And this one will be for overnight trips. If you're not familiar with canister stoves, the Optimus canister stove screws on top of this. Take this off. Screws onto there. You can adjust the flame. Put your pot on top. Boil water. All good stuff. And then lastly, and most importantly, because you can't light this with your thoughts, it is not one of the real fancy ones with the little push button lighter. Always carry a lighter. In fact, I would recommend carrying two. Like I said, kind of a theme for me is having a backup. But that's it. The pack is empty. This is what I carry in my pack, and some of the reasons why. Hopefully this has been interesting. If it's not been interesting, my apologies for wasting your time. Although part of that is on you because you stuck around. But that's all for now. Have a great evening. Take care.